The muzzle is off. Let go of the shame, remove all the pain, block it out like a troll on your timeline. The past is what made you who you are today. Embrace it, let it go like an exhale. Remove it, remove it, remove it. The muzzle is off.
Hold on, y'all. I gotta test this sound out. Y'all know when I'm testing sound by myself. Let us see. Hold on. Might hear some feedback. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, boom. It's working. It's working. Hey, friend, what's going on? I have to check and see if this sound is working. You know, back after being in hiatus for a minute, I gotta check sound and stuff. Check sound. You know what? I tested it out. I tested it out on my phone. I saw I was good. I was like, oh, okay, we good. I got sound. How y'all feeling? How y'all doing tonight? Welcome. I know it has been such a long time coming. I had to look on here and see like the last time I actually did a show, and it said it was like a year ago, and I'm like, oh wow. I didn't realize I was gone for that long, but you know, sometimes you need a good break, and hence why I entitled this episode to be called "What the F is Going On?" Because what the F is going on? Okay, I don't know what is going on, but I said we need to talk about all that's going on because it is a lot. I feel like everybody that I talk to is the first thing we always say is, yo, what the is going on? So that's why I titled this show, What the is Going On? Because I just feel like there's so much information coming out every single day. I feel like we are definitely in information overload. We are in a time where we are being inundated and bombarded with a whole lot. And I feel that because we're being inundated and bombarded with a whole lot, this green screen ain't working right. You're not even supposed to see the green screen, and these little makeshift green screens don't work right. I need to send this thing back to Amazon. I ordered this off of Amazon over 3 years ago. I just want to put that out there as well. So I did not just recently order this from Amazon, although I did place an Amazon order and I felt really guilty about it. So don't get on me too bad because I felt really guilty about it, but I didn't have no choice. At any rate, and we'll get into all of that as well as far as this whole Amazon, Target, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, everything that has really been transpiring for, oh my God, it feels like we've been going through this for 10 years and it literally has only been almost 30 days. And I don't know if anybody else feels like how I feel, but I definitely feel like it has been very much so overwhelming. The information that we're receiving is very overwhelming. Everything that is coming out is very overwhelming. I just feel like we are just in a very overwhelming time. And the question really is, what the is going on? We trying to tap my screen like mm. And you know what I'm gonna do, let me see this right here, let me copy this, boom. And I haven't done this in a while, but if anyone would like to join, here is the link right here. You can utilize this link to come on stage with me, so that we can have a collective conversation of what the is going on. So let me start here. One of the voices I definitely appreciate in this time is going to be D.L. Hughley, and another voice that I appreciate during this time is truly Representative Jasmine Crockett. I respect those two voices because their voices seem to be the loudest, and their voices are the voice that we need for the times in which we are living in to get information out. And I find that what is happening is that the real true voices that we need to hear are being drowned out by all these other voices that keep trying to negate what's really happening and trying to basically cause us to believe a whole bunch of lies, right? And a lot of the misinformation that is going on out here today really and truly is because we don't read, and because we don't necessarily research, and because we don't necessarily understand the government, and we don't understand how the government works, right? So, and all of this has literally started it started months ago when they first told us and they said, y'all really need to take a look at Project 2025. Y'all need to read through it. Now, I went on the Project 2025 website. I promise you, it was as if they had their own level of a constitution written up. And as I began to read through some of what Project 2025 stood for, I was like, we're in trouble if this comes to fruition, right? And a lot of people, some of you Black people, believed this president when this president said that he had no dealings with Project 2025. He didn't know what it was. He didn't X, Y, and Z. He has no idea where that came from. And then you guys elected him, because I didn't elect him. He's not my president. You guys elected him, and now here we are, not even 30 days into this presidency, and it is pure and utter chaos that is happening. I personally don't know what anyone truly believes. I don't know what people truly stand for. But the one thing that I do know is that if you stand for humanity, you would have never voted for this man. If you really stood for people, you would have never voted for this man. If you did not care about anything else outside of your own self-interest, you would not have voted for this man. And I'm gonna come down to Church People Road too, because I got something for y'all as well, the ones who supported this man. Because a lot of the support of this man has literally been based on this cloud of deception that basically says that he is going to basically restore the nuclear U.S. family, right? Man, woman, child, okay? Because that's what the nuclear family was made up of, and that's what's going to make America great again. And we're not having all these pronouns, and we're not going to have all these different identities, and we're going to basically attempt to take this country back to like 1865, because that's what the hell it feels like, to be honest, right? And one thing that I will never, ever agree with across the board with anybody and with anything is that you really think that you are an integral person and you voted for this man. You really think that you stand on some type of moral ground and you voted for this man. And 77 million people voted for him, so I'm questioning all 77 million people. 48 million people did not come out and vote, and I'm questioning y'all too, because your lack of voting is also what caused this. Because if the 48 million, or if even, let's say, a million of the 48 million who absolutely did not vote would have voted and would have voted for Kamala, we wouldn't be here today. Because it's not like he beat her by a landslide. It's not like he beat her to the point where, You know what I'm saying? That it wasn't possible that she couldn't be president. He didn't. At the end of the day, there were a lot of swing states that swung in his direction due to the fact of, let's just be honest, that this country has truly been created on the backs of, honestly, racism, certain levels of prejudice, right? And we are here today due to that fear, right? So if we fully understand what's actually taking place here, because people were like, why are you so upset about DEI, blah blah blah. We were not the group of people that mainly benefited from DEI efforts. We weren't. We know that. You know what I'm saying? We also weren't the main group that benefited from women's suffrage, but here we are, right? So I think that sometimes when we say certain things, it's due to a lack of education, and it's due to having a true lack of insight, right? Because for me being a Black woman, and me being a Black woman for who I am, I don't necessarily think that I would be in the position that I'm in had it not been for affirmative action, and had it not been for DEI. Why? Because I am one of the only senior leaders in my organization that happens to be a Black woman in the US. And part of me being able to be in the position that I am in is due to the initiatives that were set in place many, many years ago. Okay. So I think that it is mind-blowing to me how many Black people literally thought that we did not benefit from DEI initiatives. If you think of college admission and the fact that we had to create these initiatives, we had to create some level of diversity in colleges in order for us to be accepted into them. Not because we weren't qualified to go there, but because there were rules in place that would not allow us into those spaces, right? The very same thing when we think about integration as a whole. One of the reasons why we had to integrate into this society is because the resources that were being provided to us in our schools were not the same resources that were being provided in the other schools. Our businesses were not provided with the same level of resources that other businesses were being offered. One of the reasons why, like, everyone always wants to bring up the fact that, yeah, well, when we had our own thriving businesses and we had our own thriving companies and we had our own thriving cities, they came in and burnt it down. They absolutely did come in and burn it down. They absolutely did come in into our cities, into our towns, and take what we had, right? Because when you think about it, Southern racism is very different from Northern racism, right? In the South, the idea of a Black person actually obtaining more wealth than a white person, it was completely unheard of, right? And so when you're dealing with that level of racism, what that level of racism tells you is that you can't have thriving cities. You can't have a Black Wall Street. You can't own a home. You should not own a business. Like anybody that watched the movie Rosewood, which is based on a true story, we understand why they came into Rosewood and burnt it down. We understand why when they went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and burnt it down. Why? Because the ideology of Southern racism says that Black people should never be at a higher economic status than white people. That is the very premise of Southern racism. Northern racism was a little different. Now, a lot of this was discussed. I believe it was like in a meme. It was in a video on IG. So I'm bringing it to the forefront, not because I don't already have this knowledge, but because we have to understand the difference. In the North, it was okay for Black people to be able to obtain wealth as long as our wealth was separate from theirs, right? So, of course, we could have the Harlem Renaissance. Yes, because we were in Harlem. So, of course, that's okay for us because that's where we were. You know what I'm saying? And we were separate. So, of course, we could own the brownstones. We could own the businesses. We could have the Cotton Club. We could have everything that we had in Harlem. Why? Because it was separate from theirs. They had their own wealth. We had our own wealth. And then what begins to happen is that when we become too wealthy or we become too powerful, right? Then you had people like Richard Nixon who comes into place, and then you get COINTELPRO. What happens with COINTELPRO? Oh, well, now we are being looked at. If you think about everything that the Black Panther Party did before they were infiltrated, because we have to make that explicit distinction, because the Black Panther Party was infiltrated by spies that came to bring the party down. But we have to have that level of knowledge to understand, okay? Because not only did we have the Black Panther Party, we also had the Young Lords, okay? So you had the Black Panther Party that was building up, I guess you would say, our modern day like urgent cares, right? They were building up housing structures. They were building up educational facilities, and we have to understand why. And it was because after integration, you cannot integrate a people into a society without giving them economic power. We were integrated into a society without having the economics that would back us. So therefore, we were integrated, but we were still financially basically inferior to white America. So how do you integrate into a society, but you don't provide power based on the dollar? You can't. Hence the reason why they had to murder Martin Luther King Jr. Why? Because he began to awaken to the fact that I integrated us into a society that was not prepared for us. They did not want us to be equal. They liked us separate and equal. They didn't like us together and equal. There was no equality that was going to be given to us. So what happened? So we had to begin to fight. We had to fight the Jim Crow South. Because if you think about it, as soon as slavery was over, they entered into law called the Black Codes, which was nothing more than the slave codes, but just turned into the Black Codes. Okay. Then when you raise up against the Black Codes, what did they do? Okay, we can't have the Black Codes anymore. So now we know what we're going to do, Jim Crow. So now we're stuck into a Jim Crow South era where you got whites over here, you got this for the coloreds, and no, we can't integrate you because we want y'all separate and not equal. So now you're fighting against a system that was set up to keep us unequal. And it started with us, and then it literally ballooned into a whole other group of people. It metamorphosed into a whole other group of people. However, that metamorphosis didn't happen. It happened over time. It didn't just like happen overnight, like, oh, boom, one day we're just going to wake up and there's extra groups that are being added. And no, it happened over time. Why? Because as society began to change, there were other people coming up of other statuses who were just as disenfranchised, but not more than Black people. Because the bottom line is that if your skin color, if you was the color of a paper bag, you was Black. If you ain't passed that paper bag test, you was Black. And that was the bottom line. You know what I'm saying? If you had one drop of Black blood in your body, you was Black. And the simple fact of the matter is that we have systemically been held down. We have systemically been oppressed. We have systemically not been able to achieve the status that we should have achieved because the system was never meant for us. Now, when you really start talking about 40 acres and a mule, this was never something that was actually written into law. It's quiet as it's kept. We should know this. It was a promise that was stated that was never actually actualized. Why? Because we didn't go fight for it. And that's just the truth of the matter, right? Because it was a promise that was made And it said, okay, you know what? For every enslaved person, this is our promise to every enslaved person. We're going to promise that this is what we're going to give you because we illegally had you enslaved in this country, right? Slaves said, okay, and that was it. There was no follow through, there was no follow up. One of the things that Malcolm X was very big on was the fact that he said, in order for America to pay for her crimes, we have to sue America in the world court. He said, we can't fight America in America. We have to take America to the world court and sue America in the world court and stand before the world and tell the world of America's atrocities. And then what happened to Malcolm? Because the thing about it is, if you really think about it, everybody that was awakened to the truth, which is why they keep trying to use woke in the wrong tense and in the wrong sense. They want to use the word woke and make it seem like something that it's not. But everyone, the true awakening is the awakening of people to the truth. I am not talking about being woke and not understanding how to speak in complete sentences and always trying to sound like you're like as if you're speaking in parable form. I'm not talking about that type of word. Woke. I'm literally talking about people that are woke enough because they sought out information and they began to study and learn the truth. And the truth of the matter is that the more we awaken, the more the more scared we had the people that were at the top, i.e., government. So the more we awaken to the truth and the more we awaken to the actual powers that we really and truly do have, the more they're going to attack our very structure of what we stand for and who we are. Hence the reason why now we have Elon Musk, who is a South African, one of the colonizers, okay, coming into this country and now telling us how we need to cut funding. However, what he doesn't tell is how Tesla for years has received government subsidies, which is free money from the government. So you're telling me that we need to cut government spending, but we have not decided that we needed to cut government spending for the 14, 15, 20 something companies that actually receive government subsidies. And I'm not talking about they receiving a subsidy like 1 million, 2 million, 3. No. These companies have received subsidies in the billions of dollars. On top of receiving that type of free money, they then have been able to turn profits in the trillions. And we're sitting here literally debating on whether or not Social Security should be cut, whether Medicaid should be cut, whether he should cut funding for public schools because they have race-related funding, scholarships. We're really having this conversation and we're not calling this man to the carpet to say, what are you doing? Who authorized you to do this? We're not calling on all of our local officials who sit in that House of Representatives to fight for us, because that's what they're there for. We didn't elect these people to just sit on their butts and do absolutely nothing. We didn't elect, like, where's Cory Booker? Where's his loudmouth? Because the last time I checked for the state of New Jersey, when he was the mayor of Good Newark, he was over there kicking in doors and stuff, going on raids and stuff. But where is he at now? And why don't we hear him? Because he thinks he wants to be president, so he can't stand for what's right? Why is the loudest voice that we hear is Jasmine Crockett? Everybody should be standing. Everybody should be upset. Everybody should be worried. And why aren't we the people making these people whom we voted into these seats? Because we voted for them to go there. Why aren't we making them fight? In every state that we represent, whether you're in New York, whether you're in Jersey, whether you're in freaking Pennsylvania, whether you're in Delaware, whether you're in Maryland, whether you're in Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, freaking Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, I don't care what state you're in. Why aren't we making these people do what we elected them to do? Because all of this starts at our level. Why aren't we writing into them? Why aren't we calling into them? Why aren't we doing what we're supposed to do? Because it's not, and that's the thing. People are like, oh, because it starts at the local. Yeah, it starts at your local level, but the local level also is that House of Representatives. Because there's a lot that is being passed in that House of Representatives that should not make it out the door. And I don't care whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat. If you're a human being, there are certain things that should not be making it out that door, i.e., all this support for Israel. Because let's just be for real. History tells us that the Israelites that are over there are not the Israelites of the Bible. That's just fact. That is known fact. That is not something that is made up. And all you Black Christians sitting over there talking about we stand with Israel, y'all need to go pick up a book. You probably need to go get a little bit more educated. You probably should not have failed history, because history would tell you that those are not the same Hebrew Jewish people of the Old Testament. They're not. They're European. That's just fact. I can't help y'all want to believe fact and truth over anything. I can't help y'all want to know the truth. The only thing I could do is put truth out there, speak truth to power, and pray that y'all will exercise the your God-given right to think, okay? Because sometimes we really have to think for ourselves. Like, who had this song? Think. Was that not Aretha Franklin? It was one of them. Like, we're not thinking. And I remember all leading up to this election period, and I saw all these Black church people. We stand with Trump. I saw all these Black men. We stand with Trump. Now, mind you, the 92% of us Black women with y'all. The 78% of Black men with y'all. The rest of y'all, I ain't with y'all. Can't be with y'all, won't be with y'all, because you allowed your own self-interest to go against your people. And I can't get with that, because at the end of the day, as a human being, and me watching, this has nothing to do with just women's reproductive rights. Because you know what? A lot of people, they're taking away our reproductive rights. And you're right. But that was already done. Okay? That was already done. When Roe v. Wade got turned over, that was already done. And guess what? Y'all didn't fight then. Everybody has this big public outrage or whatever, and y'all get on these little things and you start typing and stuff like that or whatever, and you typing and you ticking on all that extra stuff. But what did you do? Who did you call? Because at the end of the day, if the job of these elected officials is to speak for those who don't have a voice in those rooms, Jasmine is the loudest one. And Jasmine can't do it on her own. Okay? Jasmine can't do it on her own, because it's too much. It's bigger than just her. But she's doing what she's supposed to do, which is why for Black History Month I posted her, because I thoroughly appreciate what that Black woman is doing. I appreciate what she's standing for. I appreciate the fact that she's not afraid. I appreciate the fact that as much as they try to silence her, she's still going to speak truth to power. I appreciate the fact that she is bold enough to stand 10 toes down and say, I'm not letting anything that they do slide. And she is very vocal about it. And she is the one that gets the information out to us so that we're not left in the dark of what really is happening. Because when you watch other news channels, they're not exactly speaking about the details as far as what is happening. Trump just got on this good TV and lied, and he blatantly lied. I am a person that understands how life existence checking works. So as a person that is educated in life existence checking or death auditing, I know for a fact that there is not billions of dollars in Social Security money just sitting here being paid to deceased people for 200 years. Does that even sound plausible? And then you have some people, well, I was about to call them a name. I was. dial it back. People who want to get up here and say, well, they showed the proof. Let me tell you something. Anybody can document up anything and make you believe it. Mm-hmm. That's how half of y'all conspiracy theorists run around here now confused. Dazed and confused because they done doctored some crap up for you to believe. Let me tell you something. That's not how this works. Okay. And when I say proof, I mean actual factual proof. Show me where the government that is administered, the Social Security Administration, does not check and see whether or not someone is living or not. Show me where. No one can. And I know you can. You want to know why? Because they do check. And you want to know what they do? And if a person gets, like, first of all, we have average life expectancy in this country. And I know a lot of people don't really know about this, but we have an average age of life expectancy in this country. So when you begin to live beyond that average age of life expectancy, even if you have a pension plan and you're getting paid a monthly benefit, guess what they do? They are going to send out a communication to you to say, we need to verify that you're still alive. And in order for you to verify that you're still alive, we need you to send back this form with a copy of your ID, and we need this notarized. You want to know how I know? Because I just had to help my grandmother with this because she's still alive and collecting her pension. Okay. So now this is across the board. This is like an industry type standard. Why? Because they need to know people are alive. Every industry does life existence checking, especially if they're paying out a monthly benefit. They have to check and make sure that you're still alive. Why? We'll even do a check. Like there's even checks that are performed. Like if they're sending you a check and it gets returned undeliverable. Now we're going to stop your payment. We need to see if you're actually still alive. You know what I'm saying? There are, if you're 105 years old, you think someone's not going to check and see whether or not you're alive or not? And then you think that if any entity was paying benefits to a dead person, that they're not going to go after the alive person that was collected and to say, hey, you owe X, Y, and Z? Social Security will go right back in your bank account and snatch that money right away. Die on, somebody died February 15th, and let's say they send that money through for March 1st, you best believe you're going to see a retro deposit of that hitting because they're going to take their money back. And so my whole thing is we believe things that these people are saying and we believe it blindly. And you know what? I just call that being willfully dumb or willfully ignorant, whichever way you choose to be. I like to say willfully dumb because it has to be dumb at this point. Like when you're grown, there's no need for you to be ignorant because there's a way for you to get information. So the only way how for you to be ignorant as a grown person is to be dumb. And to be dumb as a person that has the ability to actually research, has the ability to actually look into things, has the ability to actually find out, that has to be a miserable way of living. Like you've got to be miserable when you want to be dumb. That's my opinion. That is not fact. That's just my opinion that I state as fact. Because there's just it's too much information coming out here. It's too much information for us to receive, for us to be willfully dumb. And all you have to do is go seek out the right amount of information and not from the good conservative media. Because at the end of the day, and I'm not saying for people to watch MSNBC, CNN, or any of those other channels to seek out information. Let me tell you something. I learned some real stuff when I was overseas and I was watching BBC News and I was watching Al Jazeera. To be honest, they were reporting things that weren't even reported yet here in the U.S. So a lot of the times I go seek out information. I go overseas to get it. Why? Because they report the truth about what's happening here. And then like 2 days later, I want to say I heard it here. And I'm like, that was already released in Europe. Europe already knew that before we even did. Go figure. And part of that is because they do believe in freedom of press for real, for real. We are about to get into a time where freedom of press, he hasn't been able to enact this yet, but we're about to see that freedom of press is not going to be free. Okay. We are going to begin to see, which we already have seen, how he has moved whom he feels is trusted news sources in and kicked others of them out that were trying to get us the truth. We have to pay attention to what is really happening here because he is about to become a dictator in the U.S., but he's it's kind of like he's skating underneath that line before he just pop out. Like, I really feel that we're about to have this, like, he's about to pop out and just show us, like, listen, I'm about to be the very first dictator, ruler, conqueror of the U.S., and y'all about to be all my little minions, and we're going to see how this play out, right? And what's going to happen is everyone that voted for him, all you guys, because when I looked at the stats of who actually voted and I saw the amount of people that voted for this man that literally didn't even have a college education, and I'm not saying that you absolutely need a college education to be able to vote, but the amount of people without a college education, not even 1 ounce of college, that voted for him, that's alarming to me. It was way too many of y'all that voted for him without a college education. And again, I'm not saying that college, makes you more qualified to vote in the presidential election, but it's alarming to me because your level of education stopped in high school. And I don't know whether or not you might have attained anything else outside of that, because there are definitely other ways to receive education outside of becoming in debt, and then you got to deal with the U.S. Department of Ed and all their student loan issues. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that the areas in which these non-college educated people came from, it was very alarming and it was very telling, and also really insightful for the fact that that's who Elon Musk went after when he offered you guys $1 million in order for you to even register to vote. So it tells me that their trick of this campaign and this election, it won, because there's just no way in all of this earth that many people came out to vote who did not vote before, and then you voted for him. There's just no way. And I'm sorry to all those, who did vote for him, who really thought that he was about to help the Palestinians. You done effed around and you done found out, just like how we knew what was going to happen. Because anyone that runs on fake Christian principles, then you should know one of the biggest fake Christian principles out here is the fact that these Christians really think that they stand with Israel. And they really think that Israel is loved by God. The original Israel definitely was loved by God. Original. These people and the murders that the complete genocide that they're creating, that they have done, is not an act of God. It's not even authorized or sanctioned in the Bible. We are not living in holy wars times. God has not instructed the Israeli soldiers to do anything. All of this is coming from man and man's conquest for power, okay, over a land that is not theirs, period. Okay, so we're sitting there, and then y'all sitting here acting like we stand with Israel because that's God's land. God gave it to Israel. God gave it to Israel. But this man over here talking about building a resort. Y'all still standing with this? Nothing in there said anything about a holy temple. Nothing said anything. There was nothing in there that said he was building something for God because the land is being returned, to the original whatever, because they ain't the originals. That's number one. But nothing is being said about that. But he wants to build a resort on the Gaza Strip, and you guys are okay with mass murder, mass genocide of babies, women, children, men, to build a resort? And y'all want to tell me he stands with God? And y'all want to tell me he was God's choice? No, I'm going to tell you what he was. He was your dumb people's choice, because he knew how to capitalize off of your fears, your prejudices, and what you don't want others to have over you. That's what and all you truckers that voted for him, y'all had this delusional fact that y'all were all well off when he was president, and then when he wasn't. Guess what, you uneducated people? You weren't well off while he was president. And you want to know why? Because it was all an illusion. Everything that you were well off on while he was president was due to Obama. That's what y'all fail to realize. So you felt that your trucking industry was booming under Trump. Oh, we made the most money, blah, blah. And it all came crashing down under Trump. And you guys seem to have forgotten why. Well, let's talk about it. Supply chain crashed. Couldn't no shipments come in? What y'all gonna be hauling now when all these tariffs and embargoes get fulfilled, and all these countries definitely stop importing into the U.S.? Because I know for a fact, y'all ain't just transporting U.S. goods, dummies. Education is free if you utilize this great world wide web the way you're supposed to. You can be smart on anything if you research what you should research. And some of y'all ain't researched nothing. All y'all did was read a bunch of lies that man was telling you, and now look at us. South Africa said, oh, you want to cancel our aid? I got something for you. South Africa said, every American business in here, wrap it up. You can't run. I said, ooh, this looked like this is a big D contest, because South Africa said, and every mineral that we import, cut it off. Every mineral, cut it off. Mexico said, keep playing if you want to. Canada said, y'all gonna F around and find out real soon. And guess what? China ain't playing, and half y'all with y'all cars and your radios and your tires, you're gonna be mad when the only tire you got is these American made ones that don't even last long. Okay. Mm-hmm. You're gonna get no more Pirellis. Suka, whatever, Yoma, no, none of that. None of that. You ain't gonna get it. And then what's gonna happen? Y'all gonna be questioning a lot. And guess what? Crime is going to skyrocket. The market is going to tumble. And guess where we're going to be? Great Depression. Because forget a recession. He already left us in one of the worst recessions we were ever in. Quiet as it's kept, Joe Biden got us out of that one. Stupids. Sorry, I said I wasn't going to call y'all names. Dummies. I guess that's still a name. Well, whatever. You're not educated, because there's just no way on this earth that y'all could have thought that this was going to go any other way but the way that it has gone. And the fact that you thought it was going to be different shows me you're uneducated. So for me, I said, welcome to episode 1 of What the is going on, because we're going to have some more of these, because that's all you can entitle this. This is all of what the is going on. That's the only thing we can call this, because we are about to be taken through, I feel like this is 36 chambers of death, to be honest. But we're about to go on this ride, and we're going to go on this ride together, because there's no other place to be but here on the Muzzle podcast where we riding out. So we're going to ride this together. We're going to go through this together, and each and every week, we're going to have another tidbit of information for everybody to dig deeper into your knowledge base, as opposed to sitting here and just literally just believing the hype and believing the lies that are actually being told to us and being fed to us by mainstream media, because no one is being as real as they should be. And part of it is because they can't be. Because this president has made it very clear that if you speak against him, he's coming for you. Why do y'all think he has closed down all, or attempting to close down all of these governmental agencies? And let's not talk about what Elon Musk is doing with the agencies that he's closing down, because a lot of these agencies that he's closing down with this Doge, which is a crock of BS, are all agencies that were actually investigating him and his organizations, his companies. And since when have we ever been able to work for the government and still have you sitting at the top as CEO of companies and organizations that actually receive government funding? It's not allowed. It's technically illegal. Hence the reason why when Trump was first president, if you guys remember, he had to step down. Trust and believe, we about to get some new world order, and there's going to be some new world rules here. And if we're not smart, do you know what's going to happen to us? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have dual citizenship in another country, but I feel like that's where we going. I feel like we need to prepare. That's what I feel like. I feel like we need to prepare, because the way that we're going right now is not going to be beneficial for none of us. And I'm just being totally honest. It's not going to be beneficial for any of us. It's actually going to cause a lot more harm. It's going to cause a lot more pain. It is going to literally cause this great country that we know, because I will never say America isn't great. You understand what I'm saying? It has afforded us a lot of the opportunities that we do have, and it has also taken from us a lot of opportunities that we should have had, right? But now is the time. If we didn't see this before, we see this now. Now is the time for us to mobilize. Now is the time for us to come together. Now is the time for us to truly stand for everything that our ancestors have ever wanted us to stand for. And when I say our ancestors, I'm going back to Nat Turner, okay? I'm going back to all of our ancestors that have said, listen, we need to stand up, okay? Public Enemy said it best. Fight the powers that be. And guess what? We need to take it back to when we stood together and we fought. Because right now where we're at, if we don't do this, we're about to get rolled over. And I'm just being totally honest. Let me say this. You know what I'm saying? Because then I'm going to close out, because I got 4 minutes and I'm done. When you face the amount of racism that we face in this American workplace, and we attempt to get through it and we attempt to get by it, when you stand and you can walk outside and you go into a store and you face the amount of ridicule, public ridicule at that, just for us being Black. And we stand in this every single day. When we go out into our neighborhoods and we see the crime and we see what's happening, we see the murders of our youth, we see the fact that our schools don't get the same amount of funding as other schools get. We see it. Because when you really think about the funding cuts that they want to do, the Department of Education, whose schools are those budget cuts really and truly going to affect? It's not theirs, it's ours. Honestly. Because our schools take pride in our culture and in our heritage. We don't get private funding. How often do alumni of all Black schools actually come back and fund those schools? That's what we would need to do. If the government cuts the funding of our schools because our schools are standing on business and our schools are saying, hey, listen, we are not going to cut these programs. We are not going to cut these scholarships that we give out for minority students in order for them to achieve the higher level of education that they need. If our schools really stand on business and the government chooses to say, hey, you know what? Well, we're taking away the funding. Is Oprah coming? Because she definitely built the school in Africa, but is she coming? Because these are the questions that we need to really ask. As much as we support all of their networks, as much as we support everything that is Tyler Perry coming? Because these are the questions that we really need to ask. Because it's great to say, you know what I'm saying, 50 Cent, everybody. It's great to say, you know, oh, we employed this many people, we did this, that, and the third, blah, blah, blah. All that is really great. But right now, where we're at, as far as what's happening in this country, and as far as what's happening to us, who's coming? If we don't come together, this is the major message that's going to be for the next 6 months. We have to come together. We have to. And that's the only way how we going to fight and we going to win this is by us coming together. And we have to pull together all of the knowledge, all of the resources, everything that we have. We need to pull these things together and really, really fight this time. Like, we got to take it back to Malcolm and Martin. We got to take it back. Because although we fought Jim Crow and we won, and I'm gonna say we won like that because we won without economic power, and that doesn't exist. So, Jim Crow segregated. Next thing you know, we're desegregated, but we were desegregated into a society with absolutely no power. And to be honest with you, we still don't have the power. We don't have the power that we should have. Because the truth of the matter is, the amount that we still have to fight for respect. I can't tell you how many times I have literally had to stand up for my own self, whether it's in a corporate structure or or it's me going into a store. And anybody that knows me knows I am very big. Like, I will definitely refuse to spend my money in certain places. I sure will. I will. Anybody that knows me knows I stand very firm in my convictions. I literally have not been inside of a Walmart or a Target. Like I said in the beginning, I did order from Amazon, and I did, but I had to get something that was on there. Don't judge me. However, even with that, it killed me because I stand firm in my convictions. Part of the reason why ain't nobody ever see me back inside of a church is because I stand firm in my convictions. You will not have me going into them places and y'all can't even teach the truth. Absolutely not. I'm not doing it. I won't. So I am a person that believes strongly in what I believe. And as of lately, I have literally been pouring into and supporting Black owned. That's it. And I'm just being honest. And the reason for that is because the only way how we're ever going to be able to fight this war is if we all stick together. And part of the issue that we have is that we have a very big problem with sticking together. And I see it across my social media all the time. It's like we cut each other up, we cut each other down. We are our own worst enemies amongst ourselves because we do it to ourselves. You know what I'm saying? I see post after post. Y'all tearing down this Black business. Y'all tearing down this Black person. We tearing. And at this stage in the game, where we at right now, we have no room to tear anybody down anymore. Not right now. Not right now. Because a house divided will never stand. It will always fall. Always fall. And that's what we're witnessing right now. We are witnessing a great divide in this country. And the truth of the matter is, it's going to be the wealthy against all of us. Because that's what's happening. It's the wealthy class against all of us. And if we don't recognize that now, I don't know when we will ever recognize it. Because we're losing right now. We are for sure losing. And we're losing based on a whole bunch of lies. And I don't get it. Because I'm a Capricorn. You can't lie to me and think that I'm a rock with you, because I will forever. You lie to me, I'm a forever not like you. I was going to use another word, but I figured not like is better. But yeah, you lie to me, you're like forever grotesque in my mind. Like, ew, why would I even associate with you? That's how I feel. So for me, why would we ever band together with a liar? Why would we ever stand with someone that does not even stand for truth? There's no truth in that man whatsoever. The only truth that man knows is of his own personal interest. That's it. I still want to know what happened to the other wife, the one that somehow, some way fell down some stairs and died. I'm just saying, I just want to know what happened to her. That man done said we should not work from home because we ain't working. He said they ain't working. They going golfing. They're going shopping. They're going here. They're not working. Sir, you should know. We was in the middle of a national crisis and you was on a golf course. What are you talking? You shouldn't work from home. They need to find him a freaking office. Forget those of us that are responsible work from homers. He's talking about people shouldn't work from home. So there's a lot of information that's going around, and I am going to do my best at providing us with all the information that we could possibly need, good information, so that we can mobilize and start doing the things that we are supposed to do. Okay? Because now is the time for us to stand together. We have to. We don't have a choice anymore, because if we don't, the degradation we're going to see is going to be unanimous. And it's going to be so big that we ain't going to be able to fathom what the hell to do. And I'm just being honest. Okay? I'm just being honest. This is for us. And I mean that. This is for us. Because we can't allow what my great-grandmother fought for and what all of y'all grandparents and great-grandparents have fought for to be ruined with the flick of a pen. Because that's what this is. It literally is like, with the stroke of a pen, we're reversing time. With the stroke of a pen. And we should be afraid of that. Y'all should be very afraid. I don't know what the hell y'all afraid. Look, this is something that's scary. This is something that is, you want to know why? Because this is something that we never would have thought would have happened in our lifetime. You couldn't have paid me to believe that what this man is doing would have been done in my lifetime. Now, I don't know about my nephews and them because they're younger. I'm a great aunt now. Hopefully they stay overseas. Don't come back here. But all I know is this is something that I never would have thought that I would have seen in my lifetime. I really feel like we are now the people of the 60s, and now we have to learn how to fight today. Because the truth of the matter is, which is sad, we don't have any great leaders anymore that can mobilize the people and get people to stand. We don't. This is all at the individual level, and we're going to have to figure out how to do this. Because as much as I love Sean King, he went to the other side, and I can't follow him there either. And part of his other sideness is because of y'all. Y'all done attacked that man so bad. He started attacking his wife and his children. Next thing you know, he went on the other side, and now he mad because he went on a whole campaign against Biden and Kamala, and now he mad. And I don't know what y'all thought. I don't know what y'all thought. I know that, I don't think Kamala had enough time in her campaign to do what she was supposed to do. But the things that divided us over her were literally asinine. Like, y'all was really sitting here arguing over how black she was or not black. Y'all were literally arguing over the fact that I couldn't stand her laugh. I don't like some of y'all faces. So what does that even mean? Like, you don't like somebody's laugh. I don't like your face. But I would have rathered her than him. But now that he's here, I'm glad y'all see for who he is. And that's what I'm going to leave y'all with. Because every day you're getting reminded, all you 77 million voters and you 48 million who didn't vote, every day you're getting a chance to see exactly who this man is. And you wasn't ready for it, but you better get ready now. Until next week, y'all, we out.